hold it right there. Wow. Wow. Hey. Yeah. Hey, these things are sweet. God is wonderful. I can't imagine they are straight from the farm, no salt added, nothing, and they just taste nice. How is this possible? Well, wonderful. Now, good vibes soul, child of God. Welcome on today's episode. I am Y311H, and together we shall be reacting to some good vibes videos from across the whole world with different earthlings like yourselves, my friend, showcasing the mysteries that they get to see around and others telling their thoughts in the videos we shall be seeing. Good vibes soul. All these videos, we shall be reacting to them on a mission to spread our message. Our message, my friend, which is of love, honesty, peace, forgiveness, kindness, repentance. That is our message, my friend. And we hope it can reach the whole world, all earthlings in all corners of the world. And with your help of hitting that like button and subscribing, we can achieve that. So welcome on today's show. Good vibe soul. Before we dive in, I'd like to share with you something from a book which we normally read here. We don't read from this book because we are so holy, my friends, or we are better than yourself or any other wonderful soul watching or in the world out there. No. We read from this book because we believe it has lots of wisdom and information that can help us achieve our mission here. Understand? Now hear what it says today from 1 Corinthians 1:18. For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, the intelligence of the intelligent I will frustrate. Interesting, right? Good vibe source. 1 Corinthians 1:18 going down. Good vibes, child of God. We also believe in a supreme maker, the maker of these greens, your soul, and everything around. So let's talk to this wonderful maker before we start our show and ask for their good vibes in this episode. Dear Lord Father, full of mercies and kindness, we thank you for this day. We come before you, Father, together with your adorable child here, today's viewer. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, Father, may you have mercy on us. May you forgive this viewer all their sins, Father. And as we react to these videos, may your goodness reach them, Father. May you also, dear Lord, be good to them and show them your paths. Cover us, Father, with your Holy Ghost till the end of this episode. In your holy name, Jesus Christ, we do pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Let's dive in, good vibes.
So where are the men? Where do y'all hang out? If you don't go to coffee shops, I'm so tired of going to a bar or go to different events and they're 90% of the ladies and only 3 men hang out in the corner. Do you guys just not leave the house or go outside? Yeah, I would love to stop using all the dating apps that are just not working anymore and start meeting people in real life organically. But where do men usually hang out? I feel like I've been looking at the wrong places. So let me know in comments.
Y'all, where are the men? I love us women, but I'm tired of going to events and it's 1,000,001 girls and there's 2 men in the corner. Men, y'all don't want to leave your houses no more? What y'all doing? Y'all, we say we over the apps, but y'all sure not outside.
I see a lot of women on this app posting TikToks basically asking men, what do you get them for a gift? Here's 2 things that I found to be fucking foolproof. Food. It doesn't matter how much it fucking costs you. Doesn't matter what it is. I recommend meat, but I digress. You can get whatever you want. You can bake them fucking cookies. Men are never disappointed by food. Now the second thing, obscure weapons. Knight swords. fucking size, Wolverine claws, shit that they absolutely do not fucking need. But best believe, if you ever need something cut, he's gonna pull that shit out. You're gonna see that weapon every day for at least a goddamn week. He might even eat the food that you got him with that weapon. I don't know what it is, but men like things that are basically made for mass destruction. He will fucking
single girlies in their late 20s, early 30s. Where are we finding men?
Unfortunately, they are working overtime instead of going out and dating because they feel they will never be attractive enough or wealthy enough for a girl ever again. They would rather check their weather app than chat with another person on Hinge. If they're not at work, they're usually at home, the gym, playing video games with friends, or fighting for democracy. You're welcome.
Mind you, men thrive in relationships and women thrive when they're single. The Bible says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. That's because feminine energy is currency. As women, we are nurturers, we are maternal. And when we're in relationships, aside from the cooking and the cleaning, we pour into men, being their cheerleader, being their sounding board, giving them advice. We lean into that supportive role. But if you're pouring into the wrong man, this is where you find yourself depleted, burnt out, feeling unappreciated, because they're not pouring back into you and playing that masculine role. I'm not saying that as a woman you should stay single so you can thrive. I'm saying that before you give access to a man, ask yourself, can he afford your energy? When a man is standing firmly in his masculinity, you glow differently because you're being taken care of, you're being poured into. A lot of women will rush to be in a relationship with the wrong man because they're lonely, just for the sake of being in a relationship, just to keep up with the Joneses. But true femininity is being comfortable with self, loving yourself, knowing your self-worth, your value, and being able to communicate it.
Oh, interesting. Thanks for watching up to this point. Now, myself speaking, as a man, good web source, I've realized our sisters and cousins, female gender, you see, they think that for us getting a woman or a girlfriend, it's very easy because they are always around. What? Hey, now on this other side, now on my shoes, on the men's shoes, good web source. That thing is not easy. Myself, I've been searching for a girlfriend for the past 3 years. And let me tell you, it has not been easy. Anyway, I would like you to leave your comments down below on what you think from the male shoes, female shoes, all for good vibes sake, so that we get to understand one another. Anyway, let's continue watching. There's interesting stuff coming up. Smash that like button.
The question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
But you can release him inside El Salvador.
Yeah, but I'm not releasing, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. We just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed to have suggested that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right? How can I return him to the United States? Like I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like,
I want to tell you why the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia should matter to you. This is an individual who came to the United States over 10 years ago. He was given protected status by a court, meaning that he could not be removed back to El Salvador because his life would be in jeopardy if he left. He's got American citizen children, American citizen wife. He's got a job here. Donald Trump ignored that court order and deported him. It was such a brazen violation of the law that the Supreme Court weighed in. In a rare 9-0 ruling, the Supreme Court said that Trump had to bring this individual back to the United States, but he still didn't do it. This is the constitutional crisis. It's the confrontation between the court saying that the president has to bring Abrego Garcia back home and Trump refusing to do it. And why should this matter to you? Because if the president has the power to jail and prison, to deport anyone, even if they have a legal right to be here as a citizen or through protected status given by the courts, then none of us are safe. Today, it's this El Salvadorian immigrant, but tomorrow it could be you or me. This matters. This matters. This is the one power that we cannot give the President of the United States, the ability to take any of us off the street and imprison us just because the President believes he has the power, a power that he does not have.
As you know, we've been following the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, undocumented migrant from El Salvador, married an American woman, has a kid, living the American dream. Until the Trump administration sent him to an El Salvadorian mega prison by, and I'm quoting the Justice Department here, if I may, is an administrative error. If only there was a convenient and timely way that the prisoner could be brought back to the United States that wouldn't really inconvenience either nation.
President Bukele at the moment flying from El Salvador to Washington, D.C.
What? Saints be praised! Bukele can just give Garcia a ride. You don't even have to give Garcia the middle seat. I'm sure Garcia would just grab the wing and Tom Cruise it over here if he had to. But sadly, Bukele arrived at the White House with just the Miami club promoter clothes on his back and a pocket full of excuses.
Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
You know, can I honestly tell you, like, this isn't even the thing that's, like, they're f***ing enjoying this. Like, the two of them. Our president, their president, okay, I guess we'll just have to let him rot in a prison, even though he didn't deserve to be there. I don't, you guys don't care about this guy. I'm talking about these two, but somebody else cares about this person. And you just randomly, with no evidence that you'll show anybody, called him a terrorist. And one of the weirder parts about this is the only thing that seems to upset Trump about the entire situation is having to answer a perfectly reasonable question from Caitlin Collins about it.
You said that if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago. And they said that it must be facilitated.
Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over, and that's why nobody watches you anymore?
Nag, nag, nag. You sound just like the Supreme Court. Nag, nag. But fear not, America. For every time a lamestream media journalist gets shunned, an ass-kissy one gets its wings.
Do you have a question, please?
Mr. President, thank you so much. You scored another major investment win this morning when NVIDIA pledged to build its AI supercomputer, the first time ever, right here in the United States.
Thank you. That's a question I like. That's true.
Yeah, that's not a question. I guess it's your favorite kind of question, a compliment. But rest easy, Americans, if there's one thing we all know, it's that first they come for the undocumented migrants, and as long as nobody speaks out, they stop.
You mentioned that you're open to deporting individuals that aren't foreign aliens but are criminals to El Salvador. Does that include potentially U.S. citizens, fully naturalized Americans?
If it's a homegrown criminal, I have no problem. I'm talking about really bad people. Really bad people.
He's going to do that to U.S. citizens. I think the hosts of The View are about to get administratively errored. I got to tell you, I did not think he would get this authoritarian this fast. I really didn't. I'm sorry. Who could have known? Maybe if somebody out there had yelled at me on Blue Sky about this, I would have known. But no one did. Except every day. In all caps.
English people, you never stop to surprise me. Do you mean that these things you see going on there in English class are real and not some script of some kind like how the Kardashians things work? This is real stuff. Sometimes it looks like a very big show, you see? You're just entertaining the whole world with good vibes because some of these things, my friends, are unbelievable. Mind-blowing. Yeah, and it's like you're all actors. My God, no, this is not true. I wait. My friend is telling me that the king, he was an actor and even a movie producer. Is that true? I see where this is coming from. Yeah. Even the previous one, Obama, he was an actor. What? Yeah. Hey, my friend tells me there's a certain website here. You see, this computer stuff, to me, they are mysteries. That there's a certain website where you can see all of those guys, they were comedians and they were rigged. How is this possible? English people. I mean, this thing. Yeah. Most of your readers, apparently from my friends, just told me that they are actors and movie producers. Is that true? How do things run there? You see? Hey, I'm surprised. I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. You, my good vibes friend watching from English Lands. Are you an actor yourself, a comedian, or in which field do you lie? You see? Tell us as we continue watching these videos, my friends. Good vibes till the end, you see?
Did the company behind Scotch tape and post-it notes create a UFO-type force field in the 1980s? This is apparently a true story, documented by one of the 3M scientists himself. The story is crazy. You guys are going to want to stick around for this one. Now, on a warm summer night in 1980, 3M employees would unexpectedly create a Star Trek-like force field in their factory in South Carolina. Inside the plant, massive rolls of polypropylene film were being unwound at high speed for manufacturing. And as the plastic moved, it created an intense electrostatic charge. Suddenly, workers noticed something bizarre. When they tried to move through a certain area, they couldn't. It was as if an invisible wall had formed in midair. Now, obviously, word spread fast, and then this man, David Swenson, an electrostatic specialist at 3M at the time, was called in to investigate. Employees began testing the phenomena. Small objects would pass through fine, but larger objects, human-sized objects, were mysteriously repelled. The force field was so strong that people were getting stuck trying to move through it and had to walk backwards out of the force field. Swenson would measure this force field at 200 to 500 kilovolts. To put that into perspective, your wall socket, your electrical outlet, is between 120 and 240 volts. And a taser is around about 50,000 volts. A bolt of lightning is between 100 million to a billion volts, but that's in an instant of discharge. This 3M force field wasn't just high voltage, it was sustained and strong enough to create an invisible barrier that people could physically feel. David E. Swenson's write-up about this incident wasn't just some thing he wrote for a blog. His paper, Wide Propylene Web Static Charge, a phenomena worthy of Star Trek, was presented at the 1997 Annual Technical Conference of the Society of Plastics Engineers. This is one of the most prestigious, well-respected, and longest-running technical conferences in the plastics industry. So what happened after this? Well, understandably, safety precautions were put in place so that massive charges like this wouldn't be built up again and they could be safely discharged. Okay, that's where I'm going to end today's video, but that's not as deep as the rabbit hole goes. If you want me to get into how this phenomena ties into the UFO subject, then like, comment, share, and follow. But remember guys, don't take this from me. You can look this all up yourself. I'll see you in the next one.
Refused to reveal who their #1 buyer was and what they used the glitter for. All they were able to say was that no one would ever be able to guess who they are, that the glitter wouldn't be recognizable as glitter once they'd used it, and that they absolutely do not want people to know that they used glitter in the first place. So obviously, the internet has been losing its mind trying to figure it out, and there are a couple of strong theories, but nothing that can be proven. But these are the favourites. Boat paint. Well, yeah, if I was a buyer who was worried about directly contributing to microplastics in the ocean, sure, I'd want to keep it quiet too. But boat paint, especially on like those high glam super yachts, is visibly sparkly, and apparently we shouldn't be able to recognize it as glitter, so a strong contender, but it does have some holes. Toothpaste. Brushing your teeth with glitter? Yeah, that would upset some people for sure, but again, this theory arises from people noticing that some toothpastes have sparkly bits in, which shouldn't be the case going by the clues that we have. Plus, when glitter is used in other bath, beauty and hygiene products, it isn't exactly a secret, and you're not supposed to swallow toothpaste anyway, so would this one really be a big enough of a deal that they have to cover it up? Roads. Another one that would cause concern if true. But would they bother to keep that a secret? It's not like anyone could just remove the roads in response. And finally, food. This one is pretty broad, but it certainly fulfills the criteria of not being recognizable. It's for sure something that would be hush-hush, and probably no one ever would guess who the culprit is because there are so many food manufacturers, there's just too many suspects. I don't know. One day they might just come clean, but until then, if you looked hard enough...
Holy shit, guys. We figured out the glitter. Buckle up, it gets fucking crazy. So if you don't know, a little while ago, the world was running out of glitter. There wasn't any glitter. And everybody's like, why isn't there any glitter? Just make the glitter. And people started actually asking questions. So some people went into a deep dive and they got on a confidential phone call with one of the top manufacturer people, somebody in there. It's confidential, so we don't know who it is, but they was on a phone call. And in this phone call, they said, they don't want us to know it is glitter. What is glitter? And of course that made everybody be like, okay, so now we gotta figure this out. And there was a bunch of theories from boat paint to stuff in food and everything like that, but that wouldn't make sense to why the world is, there just was no glitter. And then somebody figured it out. It wasn't about something that was made out of glitter, it was that something is glitter, and they don't want us to know that it is glitter. Glitter is defined as tiny pieces of sparkling material. So that's actually way more broad than we think, because we think of the plastic glitter, or maybe the edible glitter, right? No, glitter can be anything like metal, or what the truth is, fiberglass. There are only a few glitter manufacturers in the world because it takes these heavy machinery, because they have to cut out these tiny, tiny little things. So what was really happening wasn't that somebody was buying up all the craft glitter. No, the machinery was being used to make fiberglass for the American military. So it wasn't that there wasn't enough glitter, there wasn't enough machinery to make both. So why the fuck is the American military buying up all this fiberglass? Apparently, they use it and drop it in areas that have radars, and it tricks the radars into thinking that there's heavy weather. So the mystery is over. It was never about somebody buying up all the glitter. It was that something was glitter that they didn't want us to know was glitter. Fiberglass.
It's hand soap. That's the fucking glitter.
I really don't think it is. I don't think it's hand soap. Do you know why? Because loads of soap has glitter in it and no one cares. People will willingly buy soap with glitter in it. Go to Lush. And I don't think it's the paint on cars or boats either. Because again, we know that paint has glitter in it sometimes, and it's something we're all cool with. We like it when things look nice and sparkly and look nice in the sun. We know that vehicles do this. I'll tell you what I think it is. There's no way it would be a big conspiracy and a big secret unless it was something that we ingest. Because why would they not want us to know? And this is why I think it's gotta be Coca-Cola. I mean, she said you would never guess. It's gotta be. And is some of the reason it looks like this because of the carbonation? Yes, but I think it's also glitter.